Indiana Jones, It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we discuss the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, one transferred credit at a time. My name is Tom Taylor.
My name is Admiral Mummert.
I'm Gerald Christopher, finally Marcus Porter.
And I'm Professor Christy Porter. Just playing.
Hey.
Welcome back, Christy.
Thanks.
Who do you think you are? Why'd you give us that tone?
You know why she gave us that tone.
Hands folded, please. Eyes front. Eyes front as we discuss minute 15. And minute 15 begins with Indy winning the game of hats, and it ends with Professor Jones telling his students what lessons he won't be around for next week. And I know this minute starts with the hat in the water and off the coast of Panama and everything, but there's something much bigger happening in this minute.
Or Portugal.
What did I say? Did I say Panama?
Yeah.
Same thing. It's off the coast of a Panama hat. That's where India is right
Yeah.
now. But Pete, and also Gerry and Christy, you are all part of this madness. We've all had a lot of fun joking about the location of Marshall College. Everyone knows that it's clearly in, Bedford, Connecticut? Was it Bedford? I forget even. But it's in Connecticut.
This is a heck of an olive branch, Tom.
Obviously.
Anywho, listen, you punk. You've been asserting that it's been in California this whole time, which is madness. I've been saying, hey, look, just listen to the facts. It's on the East Coast. It makes sense. Now we're in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I'm sitting here watching the movie, having a fun. Oh, look, here we are in Marshall College. Isn't that nice? And I go to look something up for some stupid reason on the stupid Indiana Jones Wikipedia thing, and I find out this is not Marshall College all of a sudden.
No.
That it is Barnett College or something.
Yeah, Barnett College. The sign on the front says Barnett College.
Okay, this is what I have to say. Pete, I love you. We've been doing the show for a long time together. We have our fun. Can we just bury our whatever East Coast, West Coast hatchet and just say that this is baloney? And this is so stupid. What? Does it actually say it on the school in the movie?
Yeah, it says it on the school in the movie.
I don't get that at all.
Wait a second.
At
Hold up.
all.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I
didn't notice any of this. Barnett College. I just came into this minute like an innocent boy for like 1912.
So did I.
You know, yeah. What are you guys talking about?
I'm saying that this identical classroom in the identical school.
It is an identical interior
Yeah.
classroom.
In the
Yes.
shot-for-shot identical Marcus recreation from
Yeah.
Marshall College is a different school, apparently.
It's
if
a
you
different
look
school.
up the Young Indiana Jones, My First Diary, Color Forms, baloney.
If you look at the screen, it says Barnett College.
Okay,
It's
hold
something
wait,
Marshall
wait.
College.
Why?
I'm like swimming. I'm swimming. I was not prepared for this. Where? Well, tell me the second. Tell me the everything.
Second, let's see.
19? You mean over the college?
that establishes
over
Over
the
the
door?
front door of the college. It's a different building than Marshall College was. This is filmed-
Yeah, that's right. It is.
and it says Barnett College.
What
On
the
over the door.
are they doing?
Wilhelm.
I don't know. I don't know. It's so dumb.
It will make sense after this
There's
lesson.
nothing that could
No.
make this. I will buy
Yeah.
Marion. They switch the baskets. I will buy Sankara stones,
Yeah.
and Indy is like, maybe I'll save the kids. I guess I'll buy all sorts of tapestries and flapestries and everything before I'll think that Indiana Jones is not at. He's at what is it? Barnett College.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of upsetting.
Who the hell knows?
I think he got fired.
Okay,
What
but,
did it
then
think
he's
he get- but-
part of his transfer. I'll only take a position with an identical interior
Yes.
to
Yeah.
Marshall College.
Yeah.
Identical.
Yeah.
Identical.
Like the point of the scene is it identical to Marshall College from Raiders of the Lost
Yeah.
Ark? That's the entire reason they shot this?
The only difference is they filmed the exterior at the same place where they, I think, filmed the interior in Raiders at Rickmansworth Masonic School in the UK. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's the identical classroom. It doesn't have the skeleton anymore.
yeah, and yeah.
Right.
And it actually has windows on the left-hand side, and the first classroom doesn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Or at least
No.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Listen. I was furious a couple nights ago. I was fuming And I
I'm-
and I
like-
and I went back to Raiders and I set them up side by side on my computer. They are it is the same place.
It's the
just-
sa-
I'm not gonna
It's
joke
the same
about this.
school. It's definitely the same school.
Furious and fuming now.
Oh.
This is are they trying to sell us that Indiana Jones got fired from Marshall College?
Well, I think
And-
he wanted to get away from Willie in California and he moved east. So that's why he's in New York now.
Now see, God, I started this whole thing trying to hey, let's be bygones, be bygones. We can all just together give the middle finger to the stupid Barnett College thing, and now Pete's all into it, and I don't know.
No.
what to do.
Oh, well, I look, I don't have a problem. I'd even go so far as to say I kind of like it. It might even be the gravel sexiness, dangerousness that's missing from this movie. If he got fired from Marshall College, I would be okay with him getting fired from Marshall College. That's fine. He lied to Short Round too.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So great.
They found out he wasn't actually a doctor.
Yeah, they found out, and you know what? He never took him to America.
Yeah.
You're my best friend. No, that elephant doesn't love you, Short Round.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's
Yeah.
Right.
but why set it up? I'm with you, Tommy. Why set it up with the chalkboard? And he even underlines Neolithic and underlines it fact and
Yeah.
underlines.
Yeah.
It's the whole
Yeah.
every single thing is a.
He just misspelled Neolithic. Yeah.
It's just.
Right. FACT.
Sorry. Yeah.
I had no idea this is another college.
But it's because they had to be on the East Coast. I think this cements the fact that Marshall is in California.
No, stop it.
Because they had to be on the East Coast so they could take him to Donovan's mansion in New York City.
Look, the only place you know about the location of Barnett College is from the same stupid place you know the location of stupid
Well,
Marshall
it's
College.
close. It's close to New York now. In Marshall College, there's
Marshall
no
College
clue.
is very close to New York. It's like an hour train ride. It's no big deal.
Well, wait
But
a
he could have still been at Marshall College if in this movie.
Well,
did.
so what-
They
so
had to
wait-
change it for a
It's
reason.
so stupid.
Wait a minute. So did Marcus get fired? And now Marcus
that's
is
the
at
weird
this.
thing.
Like, what
That's
is
the weird
Marcus
thing.
doing at Barnett College? Why am I
Yeah.
mentioning this phrase Barnett College?
When you read this stuff, all the stupid Wikipedia stuff, you just see an army of trained nerds just going bananas and they're just hitting all the keys, and eventually they come out with Shakespeare. And it's Marcus Brody, I don't know, worked for the National Museum, but he hung out a lot of colleges, so I guess they gave him a job there, and he just wandered the halls of different institutions and said he had a museum, and it's just they're doing anything they can to make these weird little things make sense, and it just infuriates. It just, it's weird enough that they do this shot for shot thing of this scene from Raiders.
Yeah.
I like it and I don't like it at the same time.
Uh-huh.
But then you can't do that and say it's oh my God, you can't do that and then say it's a different place. It's so stupid.
You're making look. I feel betrayed.
Yes.
Just literally because they set
I think
me
they
up
just
to.
forgot.
Well, no, they set us up to feel comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
They set us up to feel comfortable. That's the whole thing. I mean, I even see Marcus
not very
in this
comfortable.
minute. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm
no,
kind of
everything about it's
sighing.
identical to the Marshall College scene.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah.
They could have, Jerry, you're right. They could have done a thing where they could have played it up that he's not at Marshall, that he's at a new place.
That's
Something
right.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. His antics got the best of him or something and caught up to him, and now he's in a different place.
No, it's a very weird, and the main reason I noticed it is because I visited last year or 2 years ago the actual Marshall College in Stockton, California, and took some pictures of the outside
Yeah.
of it. And now looking at this, I'm like, wait, that's a different place. And then you look closely, and you're like, it says Barnett College. What the heck's going on?
Now, okay, is Barnett College actually the name of the place where they shot these exterior things?
No, this was at the Rickmansworth Masonic School
Yeah.
in the UK, where they filmed the interior of Raiders, but the exterior was filmed here in California.
But is there a building there called Barnett College or something?
No,
I'm
I think they made that up for the movie.
Oh my God! I'm trying so hard to make this make sense to me.
Poor Tommy.
No,
Is there a building? Is there a building in Marshall College that's actually called Barnett College?
Barnett
Some
College.
I love-
beautiful Times Roman calligraphy, graffiti that just says Barnett College. over the
Wait.
door.
I'm sorry. Thank you for being patient, Pete. You're the smart one here. On this.
We're in trouble if that's the case.
You're telling me that they needed to go to General Veer's, Donovan's, whatever his name is. They needed to go to his apartment in New York City, so they needed to change the fact that Indy it couldn't be at Marshall College?
Because then he would be nowhere near New York
Now,
City.
see, we're getting derailed because no one on Earth except for Pete actually thinks that Marshall College is in California.
That was actually Jerry and Christy's theory.
That's
to
true.
begin with.
No,
That's
they're
true,
bananas.
but-
They're all
Well,
bananas.
but wait a minute. If we put that down for a second, so let's just say it is on the East Coast,
Let's just say.
and then he happened. Then why would they change it? Why would they
Doesn't
change
make any
it? Yeah,
sense.
There's no reason to change it if it's on
so
the East
why
Coast.
did they change it then? Forget our
Yeah.
our East Coast West
No,
Coast.
yeah, honestly,
tiff.
forget the joke because
Yeah.
it's actually
Yeah.
making me angry that it's in the screenplay, it's in the novelization that it's an East Coast school,
Yeah.
Marshall College. So like, yes, they don't say it in the movie, but there's like, it's known, it's Lobot, it's known.
So wait a minute. Wait, is Lobot is there? So wait a minute.
Just
is-
know, even though they don't say
I
it,
like
you
you
know
like,
it.
let's get away from the location, but the location is known.
No, I'm saying get away from the cockamamie idea that it's in California.
Well, so I'll even concede that just to get to literally difference between fact and truth. I'm happy to. Does it say in the screenplay that this is Indiana Jones? Like open scenes in Barnett College.
No, you know what's weird? It doesn't. I was on a tear. I was like looking up anything I could find to find any kind of because I didn't even see the Barnett College in the movie. I didn't see that sign.
Okay.
But like I saw two different versions of the screenplay, and it doesn't say anything about the name of the school.
So okay. So if,
It might say like
okay.
Northeast or something.
So if I'm as stupid as I actually am,
If.
and I'm watching this,
Big
the
if.
third movie, am I supposed to think this is Marshall College?
I did for the last. I have to do math, but 40 years.
Were they just lazy at the filming the exterior
Well,
of it?
because they actually put Barnett College on the.
No, but nobody's gonna see it. I've seen this movie a dozen times. I've never seen that. But I
lot
did
of
see
people
the
have seen it.
shot-for-shot identical recreation of the first scene in the first movie.
Yeah, the classroom's identical, but for some reason, they went to all of the trouble of putting a different name on the college, and it's a different.
I just
a
had to
Where's
take.
Rinsler? Get Rinsler on the phone
Yes,
immediately.
I literally had to take my shirt off because I'm sweating.
Aw.
Yeah.
Put that back on.
I took my shirt off too, Jerry.
I don't.
So are we supposed to read that tiny little sign over the?
Yeah.
Well, it's not tiny if you're looking at it on a normal size screen.
Are you calling me blind?
and you're
Lay
telling
down.
me that they very specifically they put it there. They put it there.
That's
yeah,
madness.
they put it
That
there.
is. That's really. Yeah, that is madness.
The only thing that is not the same about this, besides the hallway, the only thing that is not the same.
The hallway's the
about
same.
This classroom. Yeah, it is the same. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the girls are not in love with him anymore? They're really bored.
Oh, I
don't know if
thought
you've
they
Oh,
were.
I don't, no. They're mooning. They're
Yeah, they're
No, they're not
swooning
mooning.
wide over.
They're
yeah.
swoony and
They're all
moony.
swooning.
They're totally not mooning.
Christy, you are blind.
Oh, you're seeing them as like that one girl looks a little bit like one of the bored girls in Ferris Bueller's Day Off in like one of the classrooms. So that's what
Yes.
you're reading.
Well, you guys got to understand, it's a whole different type of student at Barnett.
Yeah.
I guess so. Totally different. Totally
He actually gets
different.
like a slight like reaction out of the class. They kind of chuckle
Yeah.
at one of his jokes, which would never have
Yeah.
happened over at Marshall College. I can't
Over
believe I'm
Marshall.
internalizing this stupid thing that it actually is a different place.
The surveyor's office in Close Encounters is gone too. The guy that gives him the apple,
Yes,
All right.
that's right.
the sweater vest guy.
Sweater vest guy's gone.
God, I
Yeah.
love how this Marshall Barnett thing just hijacked the minute. I had notes about Panama's hat
What
floating
hat?
by. Yeah, we
We
didn't
can go
even
back
get
to that.
there.
I just wanted to. I thought it was
No.
starting with a beautiful thing where we're all going to bond together.
was beautiful for a
and
little
think
while.
that the movie's nuts.
Now we just.
Well,
hate
let's
each
see if
other.
there's more evidence in this minute.
I mean, but still, there's evidence that Marcus is there.
yeah.
I mean, that's,
I'll just go to whatever school Indiana Jones is at.
Yeah.
I don't even know where I work. Where am I?
Yeah.
I'll just go to whatever school in Indiana.
I got lost in my own continent.
Like I think
Oh,
Christy
gee.
will be the first to tell you, this is evidence that this is a dream. Like this doesn't happen in real life.
I got lost in my own continent.
Pete, I am not going to tell you that. I am sorry. I am not going to tell you that. I'm not the first or the last or any of the people in between. I'm not going to say it.
Oh,
So Indy says this is the search for fact, not the search. If you're interested in truth, Dr. Tyree's philosophy class is right down the hall. And Dr. Tyree was actually one of Harrison Ford's philosophy professors in college.
Oh,
He was
really?
actually a
Oh,
philosophy
wow.
major. So I think he put that in himself.
Does that blow a hole in the Star Wars connection that there's one of the red X-wing pilots is Tyree
Wow. Oh,
in
Oh.
Star Wars? Lost Tyree, lost Hutch.
Wow, I didn't even get that.
Oh, see?
Whoa, that's heavy.
Yeah, I'm deleting
Oh,
out the part I put
okay.
in. But we get on the chalkboard, we see Lake Canalino Site, Mescaletan Island, Proto-History, Broadhead. And he's talking about the Chumash civilization, which is down by you, Jer.
Yeah.
It was on Mescaletan Island just off of Santa Barbara in California when the Portuguese arrived in the 1500s.
again with the Portuguese.
Yeah, again with the Portuguese.
Yeah.
The island was leveled to make a Navy airport in 1941, but Indy would have been, I mean, this is Indy talking about what he was familiar with. This was the stuff in his backyard back when he was at Marshall.
Huh.
See, I had a whole little,
no.
you know, a whole little joke about this. Like, clearly this class is A136, prehistoric tribes near Marshall College.
Yeah. All right.
But, you know, I mean,
Lots of field trips.
and then
Yeah.
underneath, I'm serious, my little note says, is there any indication of where Marshall College is? Which just,
Floating in space somewhere
Oh,
over Lake
man.
Aw.
yeah. And by the way, Pete, I looked that up too, and that now the island, those islands, it's now the Goleta sewage treatment plant.
That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah, it used to be
So-
like, it used to be apparently pretty spectacular. Like it was a mesa. Like the island was a mesa.
Yeah.
And there were all kinds of, there were artifacts and there was, you know, stuff, relics from the Chumash civilization, and that was all destroyed to make the airport.
That really makes me sad.
Yeah.
That's just
I have
sad.
a honest to goodness question. And I hope I'm not the only one. I hope I'm not just missing something obvious. Honestly, is he just being like brain twisty? But what is the difference between fact and truth? What is he talking about?
I looked that up. I have an answer.
Okay, thank you.
Fact is
Oh, good.
something that cannot be combated with reasoning, for it is logic itself. But
Okay.
truth is something that depends on a person's perspective and experience.
Okay, all right.
Listen,
I
I built
I get that. No, I'm just but like, what's he like? I'm trying to figure out how that applies to like our buddy Indiana Jones.
You know what's weird, and I don't get this at all. First of all, is this the first day of school? Right, this is the first day. You
Yeah.
have you know what the first day of school is like, there, Chriser, don't you? This is the first day of school.
I
Like
do.
he's explaining archaeology, right? And he's saying if you know, he's kind of introducing the class to archaeology, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I agree with you, Tommy. I don't understand why he follows that fact versus truth thing with, you know, explaining that archaeology is not about exotic travel in lost cities.
Well,
Right.
everything he says in that sentence is disproven in the movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the two
right.
movies we watched
Yeah.
before this one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, lost cities, exotic travel, digging up
That's
the
exactly
world.
what he does.
We don't follow maps to buried treasure, and X never ever marks the spot.
That's why I paid
And every
$5
single one
to
of
see
those
this
things is
movie
false.
because he,
Yeah.
because he follows maps and finds treasures and it's exotic and it's fun.
Exactly.
But again, this sort of highlights the fact that maybe he got fired from Marshall because they found out he wasn't actually a doctor of archaeology. That he just makes stuff up. He just
Doctor
gets
of
up there and-
adventurisms.
Yeah, says whatever he wants to say.
It's A136. Adventure. Christopher, I have a question for you.
I'm listening.
Does 70% of all psychology take place in the library?
I'm gonna go with no. No.
Okay.
No, it does not.
Takes place when you're about 8 years old and your mom didn't
Yeah.
pick you up at the pool.
That's right.
Oh my god.
Or when you're 4 and your dad takes you to see Jaws.
Oh boy.
really?
That's right. That's exactly right.
Met my first bully, Christian Leedy. If you're out there,
Oh, ow. Oh my word.
my very first bully. I was 4 years old.
You can only bleep the name or the F-bomb. You can't do both.
I don't care if he does hear it.
I feel bad about skipping the hat. Did you really have something to say about the hat?
Oh, you know, I did. I listen. No, this Marshall thing. I feel like we showed up for a Marshall fight with a
With a Panama hat.
Barnett. Yeah, Barnett fight. I've been like cudgeled by a fire hose. I can barely talk about hats right now. Well, I'm
You don't
glad
have
I'm glad
hat.
you're here with us, sister, Christy, talking about hats because
Sister.
we have established that hats are important, and Panama's hat at the beginning of this minute, his hat floats by. Literally, he is no more.
Yeah.
And of course, Indy is still wearing his famous fedora, and that we now know he got from Fedora. So, interestingly enough, both of the original bad guys are now hatless.
Yeah, that's right.
One of them by choice, of course. But I have a theory here. In 1912, this just occurred to me watching this minute. In 1912, when Fedora Man bequeaths his hat to Indy, I think he's out. He's done. He's over with this grave robbing thing. I think he now writes for the Farmer's Almanac.
Oh. Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like
He's reformed.
Yes, this
Nobody
was
needs a hat for that.
Yes, this was his last adventure. He gives Indy the fedora. That guy's name now is Farmer's Almanac hat guy or Farmer's Almanac man, and he no longer is known as Fedora. And the lights have dimmed on his grave robbing career.
Oh, I think you're right about that.
Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely.
But does Indy take the Panama hat? Like, does he swim over and pick it up? And then maybe bequeath that on one of the kids that's caught cheating in his class or something? Or...
So he's doomed to drown.
The kids, dude.
You're gonna drown today, kid, but you don't have to like it.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying. I think Fedora Hat he's retired.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right.
It was he inspired Indy, and he retired. Inspired him to retire.
Yeah. I find
Although, he chose a funny moment for it because he gives the Cross of Coronado to Roscoe, who woo-hoos, and then, gives it to Panama Hat. So you would think if he was going to retire, he'd say, well, keep this, or, well, I'll just turn this over to the authorities, not the sheriff who's not an authority. I'm just saying. He's taken the straight and narrow according to your theory, but then he's kind of like, but I'll profit first to start my own almanac.
Well, he didn't. He had an epiphany.
Yeah.
He had the epiphany after he gave it to Roscoe.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
I think he realized he had been bested in a way by this young upstart, this young buck, and who's doing the right thing. And I think he sees the innocence in young Indy's face, and he goes, I've fallen. He's tired of being Belloc, and it only took a nudge to, he sees himself in the young Indy. It only takes a nudge to bring him back to his former innocent self.
I like that.
Yeah, that would work for me. I think he probably moves back to the East Coast.
Sure.
In the shadow of Marshall College.
Yeah, and he
Wait, what?
hey,
You heard her. It's making a lot of sense. Hey, I want to talk about Marcus for a second.
Yep.
We get Marcus finally, our buddy
Yeah.
Marcus. Mm-hmm. He doesn't, he barely does anything in this minute, but he shows up at the door,
Looking good.
kind of takes his place on the wall, like exactly like he did in
Yep.
Raiders. Going into this movie, anybody you ask, if you mention Marcus in Last Crusade, they go, They kind of go, oh my God, they killed that guy. They ruined him. They took this really cool, kind of smooth character and made it a complete goof. And I've always had that feeling too about him, like since I saw this movie.
I think you will find there are a lot of people who don't say that.
There might be a few. I'm on the fence now. After watching it the most recent time, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Well, not the most recent time, but the first time I watched it in, decades. I was like, wait, he's got a lot more solid, cool stuff going on in this movie than I remembered, and a lot less absolute goofy stuff than I remembered. So I want to kind of keep, this doesn't have to be official, but I want to keep a little running tally of exactly when he sucks and when he's actually kind of fun and cool.
Okay.
Because he seems like the same old Marcus here.
Oh,
totally.
he definitely does.
And I feel like he's more of the same old Marcus who we would expect from Raiders in this movie than people give him credit for. That's my thesis for Marcus.
But that's because
Okay.
he does nothing except pose like he's in Raiders.
Nah, you'll see. You'll see.
All right. I'm thrilled to see
And
Marcus.
he was told to pose like pretend you're Marcus from Raiders. And that's what he does.
Yeah, pretend you're like this totally OCD guy who can only enter a room one way. Yeah, the exact same thing every
I
single
can,
time.
I can actually identify with that.
Sure, you're not alone.
I know, Pete. You're going. Where are the skeletons? Where are the skeletons?
Yeah, I know
Where are
that
the
bothered
skeletons?
me.
Where
Yeah,
are the
that bugged me a
skeletons?
little bit. Yeah. Well, it's not Halloween. It's like Halloween's over if it's the first day of school.
Are we gonna make a fact T-shirt?
I thought about that, and the answer is no.
I think we should.
Fact.
I thought about that now.
I wonder if
Fact.
we're announcing it now, and then like once this episode airs, it's like already on like TeePublic or something.
Fact.
I wonder. How could I possibly know that? It's in the distant past.
Well, I mean, Neolithic. That's got a whole little great backstory behind it. Fact is,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I don't know if people are going to get that.
You know what though? Out of context of like Indiana Jones, Neolithic is a super cool shirt.
Yeah.
And
It
I think fact, just written in chalk on a gray shirt, would be a very cool shirt too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have to know it was an Indiana Jones
But
thing.
let's be clear, and this is how we know it's a completely different college. Is it would have to be a green shirt.
Green shirt?
This is one of those green chalkboards.
No, it's a
Wait, is
great,
it?
it's a great
Yes.
chalkboard, but he doesn't write it already and then erase it and then write it again.
It's that same
Right.
kind of gray-green, I think.
Yeah, it's the same damn room, so it must be the same chalkboard.
Yeah.
In college, there was never a bell that goes off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
I mean,
that's true.
Professor Christy Porter, you went to a small liberal arts college. Did you have a bell?
No bells. No
You had
bells.
No
How did the
bells,
students know when it was recess?
I don't know. Professors took out a flask? I have no idea. No.
Jingle, jingle.
Whew.
Was that it for
Ooh, I hope
15?
that was
all I got.
yeah. Well, wait a minute. Oh, yes, I can barely. I can
Gary,
barely
is that
read
it
this.
for minute 15?
Why no?
Does anyone have anything else?
There's something huge coming through the wire.
Okay.
Yes, here it is. Boo-ba-da-doo, boo-boo-ba-da-doo-ba-da-doo-boo-boo. This just in
Barnett,
from the
Barnett,
largest,
Barnett.
the smartest, the brickiest Billy Goat Gruff, Mimi Porter, Memer Esquire. We look outside of ourselves to find fact. We look inside of ourselves to find truth. It's no wonder she got into Yale. She's a kiss ass. She's a kiss ass.
When did Memer Esquire start writing fortune cookie tags?
Yeah, I know.
Listen,
Yeah.
I
What are the
didn't-
numbers on the back?
I don't know if you-
Lucky numbers.
I don't know if you've talked to our sister lately, but ixnay on the assing the bar pay.
No. I would also like to point out that although she is the smartest Billy Goat Gruff, she's regular sized. Okay. You're always giving people the idea she's.
Listen, she wasn't the Indy wasn't the only guy who got fired this minute.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah,
It's not true,
writing
people.
fortune cookies it is. Just don't mention it at Christmas.
Right. Well, if that's it for minute 15, it's time to say goodbye. Oh, we have to say goodbye to Christy. Goodbye, Christy.
Oh,
I'm sure you'll be
Okay.
back.
you'll
Yeah.
be back.
Well, yeah.
And you can hear her quite often on the.
End of the class bell.
You can also hear her quite often on our Patreon show on the weekends.
What? Who?
That's right. Yeah. Our Patreon show, we've been doing things like Jaws and Close Encounters and other stuff. And Christy often shows up there.
She's on many of those.
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, but you know what you should do? For real, you should go to iTunes and you should subscribe to us and you should rate us and review us. Give us like as many stars as you think we need. I would average it out to like 5. I think you think probably 5 would be good. And just write a cute little positive review and tell us what you think. Like this guy here. Here's a review straight from iTunes. Unless you want your face to melt off, subscribe now. Spoiler alert. See? That's all you need to write. That's beautiful. So lie. That's who wrote that one. That's beautiful. Just do that kind of stuff. That helps us out, helps the world know about us, and then you won't be so alone. Your your Indiana Jones Minute family will grow around you and take you into their hearts. But please come back on Monday, where we will spend more time at this limbo school between realities, Barnett, Marshall, whatever it is, for minute 16 of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Barnett.
Marshall.
Barnett.
Barnett.
Barnett.